And now I will send a single HTTP request to get only 500 order items from my database with having lazy loading enabled and accessing the navigational properties. So now I will send it. And we can see hundreds of SQL queries executed against my database. So as you can see, this is the huge performance overhead, and in today's tutorial, we're gonna fix it. And the response time, 7.5 seconds. So in this case, we'll talk about N+1 problem, what it is, how to avoid it, and how to detect that your application could be affected, and 3 different ways how to approach loading the related entities from the database with different trade-offs based on the different case scenarios. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I highly recommend to smash the subscribe button down below, to give me a like, to write a comment, and to subscribe to my weekly .NET newsletter. And now, let's get started. Today's tutorial is sponsored by the ZZZ Projects, a company that builds some of the most practical and battle-tested tools for .NET developers working with the databases. If you used EF-Core or Dapper before in the real production environment, you know how quickly performance can become a problem, especially when you're dealing with thousands or millions of records. ZZZ Projects solves exactly that. Their tools like anti-framework extensions, bulk insert, update, delete, audit, and Dapper Plus can speed up heavy data operations by orders of magnitude and give you features that EF-Core and Dapper simply doesn't offer out of the box. What I really like is that these tools aren't just nice to have, they actually save time, reduce boilerplate, and remove a lot of the pain points you hit when scaling your application. If you're building anything data heavy in .NET and you want better performance without rewriting half of your codebase, definitely check out the link in the description and the pinned comment down below. And now I'll explain you the N+1 problem on the following example that we have used in the introduction. So we have the get endpoint, N+1. And over there, I am retrieving the list of the orders from my database. So this is the single database call. Then in the for each loops, I am accessing the customer, items, and tags navigational properties. And what it means, every time that EF-Core accesses the navigational property, then it produces the single database query to load this data. So when you have 500 orders, you have over there first SQL statement. Then in the for each loop, we are accessing this, and this navigational properties. So we are producing 3 SQL queries per single order. So the math is simple. When you have 500 orders and you're retrieving those orders, so you have 1, then 3 times 500. So we have 1501 SQL queries. So this is the N+1 problem. And now you can ask why your EF-Core does that. So the root cause is that someone, in fact me, enabled the lazy loading in this project. So how to check if the lazy loading is enabled? So in the program CS file, we have the use lazy loading proxies enabled. And in all of the entities where we have the navigational properties defined, we have the virtual keyword. And now I will remove the lazy loading because it's not recommended by the Microsoft because of the performance issues, and it's the way better to point what you need to load to access the navigational data and just do it on your own, not to let EF-Core do it. So I will remove the use lazy loading proxies because we don't need this. We don't need this performance overhead. And I will remove the virtual keywords from all of my entities. And now I will send the request once again to the same endpoint, but without the lazy loading enabled. And what will happen? We will have no reference exception when accessing the related data. So we have no reference exception because EF-Core now doesn't fire the additional SQL queries to load the related data, and we have to do it on our own. So now we will move on to the 3 approaches that you can use to load the related data in your .NET application that uses EF-Core. So the first approach that we'll cover will be to use the projections. So the projections in the EF-Core allows you to remove unnecessary data transfer to only retrieve the data that you actually need. So in this select statement, the related data will be automatically loaded with the usage of the join on the EF-Core side. So the EF-Core will know to perform the join to get this customer name, and in this item count will be transferred to use the aggregate function, so the count on the SQL server or different database provider side. And when you're using the projections, you don't need to set up AsNode tracking because EF Core knows that you don't need tracking when you use anonymous types, so the projections in this case. So with this endpoint, we are sure that the performance will increase a lot. But the projection 2 endpoint, as you can see over there, it uses the collections. So when you use the collections with the projections, then it will perform those joins, but it can lead to the Cartesian explosion problem. So it will wait because it needs to combine a lot of the rows to each other to duplicate the data and then to return the results that you actually need. So when you're using the projections, you have to keep in mind that if you need the collections inside of the projections, there's the better way to do it. But when you are accessing the single navigational property, you are using the aggregate functions to get, for instance, sum or count, then the projection is the way to go. And when accessing the collections, then it will decrease your performance. And how much we're gonna discover now. So I will start the API and I will send 2 requests. The first one for the first projection. And we can see about 230 milliseconds. So it was very fast in comparison to the first endpoint with the N+1 problem. And now the projection 2 endpoint. And due to the Cartesian explosion problem that it had a lot of duplicated data correlated on the database side, we can see that we have 15 seconds. So as I have mentioned, when you use the collections, it's not the right tool to use the projections correlated with the collections. But in this case, we have the Cartesian explosion. So use the projections only when you access the single navigational property or the aggregate functions or the scalar variables. And here, as you can see, we have the proof that this is not the way to go. And the next endpoint that we'll test will be the eager loading. So it will be very similar to the one that we have used now. But here we need to define AsNoTracking because by default, the change tracker will track those entities. And here we are accessing the collections as well. And what is the difference here between the projection 2, where we are accessing the collections, and the eager loading? So with using multiple include statements. So over there, you have to load duplicated data, but as well all the columns that you don't need. So over there, you only access those data. So the data transfer will be reduced, but with the eager loading, then all the properties that you don't actually need will be transferred as well. So here we have to construct the full object graph. In this case, with the projections, it's the way faster, but still it was 15 seconds. And now we'll discover when you use includes and AsNoTracking to list async, so you disable the change tracker, how it will go. So now I will go to the HTTP file once again, and I will send the request to the eager endpoint. And as you see, we have the timeout. So our API was that slow that it doesn't have the ability to return the proper data to the caller. So as you can see, the Cartesian explosion will be very, very dangerous when you load multiple database tables at once when using the EF Core. And now let's go to the splitting behavior of the queries that will improve the performance out of that. So now I will go to the endpoints and I will show you how to resolve that. The split endpoint over there, it uses the AsSplitQuery method, which will perform additional SQL queries to the database to load the related data, to not have the Cartesian explosion and waiting for the response, but it will improve the performance by using additional SQL statements. And only this line will help us out to not have timeout anymore, and it will improve the performance a lot. So now we can test it out, but before, one thing to mention: when you have the high latency with your database, then it can lead to the performance problems, or when you have the system with the high concurrency, so then it does not guarantee that all the results will be the latest ones, between the operations. So now I will start the API and I can show you the performance benefit. It was 1 second instead of timeout or 15. So now when I send it once again, we can see that it's even 700 milliseconds after the second request. And as you can see in the console, now we have more than one select query to the database, and it improved the performance a lot because it didn't return the duplicated data. So now you can see how to approach differently the N+1 problem, how to use the projections, how to use eager loading, and how to use split query behavior to improve the performance and to not have the Cartesian explosion. If you haven't subscribed my channel yet, I highly recommend to smash the subscribe button down below, to give me a like, to write a comment, and to subscribe to my weekly .NET newsletter, and see you in the next tutorial.